You've watered it. You've placed it near the window in the corner where the light feels soft. You've wiped the leaves and admired how straight they stand, strong, silent, almost protective. But if you haven't buried this one small item beneath your snake plant, you may unknowingly be keeping abundance from finding its way to you. It's not about magic. It's not about superstition. It's about how energy flows or gets quietly blocked in the spaces we live in. For centuries, Feng Shui masters chose the snake plant not for beauty, but for its form. Its sword-like leaves don't just rise, they cut through stagnation. But even a strong plant can't draw prosperity if its roots aren't given a message to carry. The truth is, most people decorate with plants, very few activate them. And that's where the shift begins. Beneath the soil of your snake plant lies a quiet opportunity, a sacred space where intention can take root. When you place the right object there, something soft begins to move. Not loud, not instant, but deep, a change in energy, a shift in presence, and soon a gentle flow where things once felt stuck. Today we'll uncover what to place beneath your plant, how to do it with meaning, and why this quiet gesture could become a turning point for the energy in your home. Because maybe what your home needs isn't more effort, but a single, silent offering that says, "I'm ready." Section 1. When a plant begins to listen, the snake plant becomes more than decor. You walk past it every day. It stands by the window or near the door, upright, silent, present. The snake plant, hardy, resilient, easy to forget. You water it, wipe its leaves now and then. Maybe you placed it there for decoration or to add a little life to the room. But have you ever paused to wonder if it's doing more than just standing there? A posture of strength, a silence that speaks. There's something unique about the way the snake plant grows. Its long, pointed leaves stretch upward like blades, not drooping, not sprawling, but rising. In Feng Shui, this isn't just a shape. It's a statement. The energy of upward growth represents protection, clarity, and strength. That sword-like form was once considered a shield, a plant that stands between you and what doesn't belong. But here's the part many forget. A sword is only powerful when it's anchored, and most snake plants are not anchored. They're potted, decorated, forgotten. What makes a plant more than a plant? A home filled with objects is not always a home filled with energy. Most people fill corners with things that look nice. But Feng Shui asks us something gentler. Does this thing speak to your space? Does it listen back? When a snake plant is placed with presence and activated with care, it becomes more than a pretty object. It becomes a participant, a filter, a protector of flow, but it cannot play that role if you treat it like any other decor. It must be invited, not worshipped, just seen. So how do you start that shift? Begin with attention. Look at your plant now, not with the eyes of a decorator, but with the eyes of a listener. Are the leaves clean or coated in a film of dust? Are they bright and firm or curling, yellowed, tired? Dust may seem harmless, but in Feng Shui, dust is stagnant energy. It tells the story of what isn't moving. Each week, when you gently wipe your snake plant's leaves, you're not just tidying, you're clearing the path, just like brushing debris from a road. Start at the base of each leaf and glide upward, as if tracing the rise of your own energy. You may choose to whisper something as you do this. Thank you for standing with me. Let the energy rise. These quiet moments of care are the beginning. They're how a plant begins to listen, when the root begins to speak. But don't stop at the surface, because while the leaves reflect energy, it's the soil that holds the message. What's buried beneath the plant matters just as much, if not more, than what's around it. And this is where many miss the opportunity. You see, without anchoring intention into the base, the plant remains passive. It stands tall, but unconnected. To awaken its deeper energy, you must offer it something. Not as a demand, but as a gesture of clarity. A small coin, a written phrase, a key. These are not superstitions, they are physical containers of belief. You will learn more about each of these in the next steps. But for now, simply know this. The snake plant begins to protect and attract when it is given a role to play. When it becomes more than an object, when it becomes a symbol. And then the space begins to shift. It doesn't happen overnight. You won't feel the wind change or hear the chimes sing. But one morning the room may feel clearer. A phone call may come. A tension may lift. Not because the plant did anything for you, but because you began doing something with it. That's when it becomes more than decor. That's when it becomes a gentle partner in flow. So the question returns to you not as pressure but as invitation. Is your plant just standing there, or has it begun to listen? And more importantly, are you ready to speak back? Section 2. Ancient coins, simple but never ordinary. You've seen them before. 3 round coins tied together with a red thread. They look simple, maybe even decorative. You might think, that's just an old Feng Shui charm. But the truth is, these coins carry more than history. They carry continuity, protection, and a kind of silent wealth that doesn't just live in numbers, but in stability. And when buried beneath a snake plant, they don't disappear. They activate. Not all coins are created equal. These are not just any coins. They are known as emperor coins, replicas from the reign of the most prosperous dynasties in Chinese history, times when wealth was not only present, but steady and protected. Each coin has a square in the center, surrounded by a circle. The square represents earth. The circle represents heaven. When you hold them together, you're symbolically holding balance between the seen and unseen. But the true power lies not in the coins themselves, but in what ties them, a red silk thread. In Feng Shui, red is not just color, it is fire, it is life. It is the breath that wakes up what lies dormant. When the red thread winds through these 3 coins, it does more than bind. It activates the 5-element cycle. Metal coins gives birth to water. Water nourishes wood. Wood feeds fire. Fire creates earth. Earth births metal again. A perfect, unbroken loop. And that's the energy you want in your financial life, continuous, flowing, sustainable. What happens when you bury them? Many people think of wealth as something to chase. But in Feng Shui, wealth is something you root. Something you invite to stay. And coins placed beneath a living plant symbolize anchored abundance. Money that arrives gently and chooses to remain. When you bury the 3 tied coins under your snake plant, you're not hiding money. You're giving it a purpose. You're planting a message into the earth. Let prosperity come and let it be held with grace. This isn't about superstition. This is about symbolism that speaks to the body and spirit. So take a moment. Hold the coins in your hand. Feel their coolness, their weight, their shape. Let the red thread rest across your palm, and silently say, "What flows toward me, may it find a place to stay." Then gently press them into the soil, not too deep, just enough to meet the roots. Because roots and coins together create a conversation, life and stability, growth and grounding. What if you don't have coins like these? Use what you have, but choose with care. Any round metal object can carry intention, so long as you treat it with respect. If you don't have red thread, use red fabric, even a small ribbon. The key isn't the object, it's the meaning you place in it. Because even a gold coin means nothing if your heart isn't connected. And even the humblest charm becomes powerful when wrapped in clarity and kindness. And then leave them in silence. After you've buried the coins, resist the urge to check. Don't dig them up. Don't move them around. They are no longer yours in the ordinary sense. They are part of the soil now, part of the energy. Let them do their quiet work. Over time, you may notice a subtle shift, unexpected stability. A delay that once frustrated you now feels like right timing. A decision about money becomes clearer, not louder, just clearer. These are signs the coins are listening, that the loop is in motion, that your home has begun to hold wealth, not just attract it, a closing gesture. Once the coins are in place, you may offer a gentle bow to the plant, not out of reverence to the object, but out of respect for the process. This act of planting is not just an energy ritual. It is a reminder that wealth is not a rush, it's a relationship. And like any relationship, it requires presence, patience, and care. You've now given your plant a story to carry, a quiet instruction whispered into the roots, and in the days to come, your space will feel a little more anchored, a little more calm, a little more ready, because those coins, though silent, are never still, and neither is the energy now flowing beneath your feet. Section 3. The forgotten power of handwritten words. A blank piece of paper, a pen in your hand, a few quiet words written slowly without rush. It may seem small, too small to mean anything. But in the practice of Feng Shui, where the visible and invisible meet, what you write by hand carries more power than you might believe. Why handwriting still matters. In a world of typed messages and printed affirmations, the handwritten note has become almost extinct. But ancient traditions saw writing differently. They believed that when your hand moves, it doesn't just shape letters. It releases energy. It connects breath, body, and belief into one flow. Typing may record thoughts. But handwriting transfers spirit. Each stroke is personal. Each line contains your rhythm, your pulse, your emotion. It's not about how neat it looks. It's about what flows through you as you write. The phrase that opens the path. There is a simple phrase, often used in Feng Shui for activating wealth energy. Attract wealth, gather fortune. Just 4 words, but when written by your own hand on clean paper with a calm heart, it becomes more than a sentence. It becomes a seed, because intention lives in the fingertips. And when your breath slows and your hand steadies, something else begins to guide the pen. That's not imagination. That's alignment. That's your inner clarity taking form. Preparing the note. Choose a quiet moment. You don't need incense, music, or ritual, just stillness. Use a piece of plain, unlined paper. No logos, no distractions. Pick a pen that writes smoothly, nothing fancy, just something that feels right in your hand. Then breathe. Feel your feet on the ground. Feel the pen between your fingers. And when you're ready, write slowly, attract wealth, gather fortune. You don't need to decorate it, don't overthink it. Just let the words arrive, clear, steady, true. And once you finish, pause, close your eyes, feel what you've just created. It's no longer just a note, it's a message to the earth. What happens when you bury your words? In Feng Shui, the earth is not passive. It receives, it remembers, it responds. When you bury your handwritten note beneath your snake plant, you are making an offering, not to a deity, but to alignment itself. You're saying, I am clear, I am ready, I do not chase, but I invite. Your words, pressed into the soil, become a silent agreement between your intention and the space around you. And the plant, as a living being, begins to carry that message. Not loudly, not magically, but consistently through every drop of water, every ray of light, every breath of air it takes in. The note becomes the plant's hidden heart. It pulses with meaning even when forgotten. One caution, write only when ready. There's something important here. Don't write the note if your mind is filled with doubt or your energy feels scattered. Wait, this is not a task to complete, it's a declaration. And declarations, even whispered ones, hold weight. Write only when you feel steady, even if slightly unsure, but never when you feel rushed, fearful, or skeptical. Because belief doesn't mean shouting, "I trust." It means writing gently and meaning it, even if just a little. And know this, an imperfect line written with sincerity holds more energy than a flawless phrase typed without feeling. What to do after you've written? Fold the note just once. Don't crumple, don't roll. Let the paper remain soft, unforced. Dig a small hollow at the base of your snake plant, not too deep. Place the note in with care, as if planting something delicate. Cover it gently. Press the soil down with your fingertips, firm but not tight. Then pause, place both palms over the pot. Breathe in, and say, either aloud or within, "Let this message be received. Let this home begin to remember its flow." No more words are needed. No repetition, no chant, just stillness, just trust. What begins from here? You may not feel a shift immediately, but within days or weeks, the air around the plant may feel different, lighter. Your thoughts around money may feel softer, clearer, less burdened. You may find yourself making decisions from calm, not from panic. These are signs your message has rooted, that your home has heard you, that the energy around you is beginning to respond, not to the words alone, but to the way you gave them, with presence, with breath, with the quiet power of your own hand. Because in Feng Shui, and in life, sometimes the most powerful movement begins not with action, but with a written whisper planted beneath the soil. Section 4. A brass key, not just to unlock doors, but direction. Keys are familiar. We keep them on rings, toss them in drawers, hang them by the door. They open things, rooms, boxes, safes. But in the language of Feng Shui, a key, especially one made of solid brass, does more than unlock a lock. It unlocks movement, it opens direction, it signals to the energy around you, "I am ready to walk through." And when placed beneath a snake plant, this small symbol becomes a quiet force. Not loud, not dramatic, but quietly powerful. Why brass? Brass is more than just a material. It carries the energy of metal, one of the 5 fundamental elements in Feng Shui. Metal governs clarity, precision, authority, and yes, wealth. But unlike harsh, cold steel, brass holds warmth. It reflects light softly. It feels old, grounded, respectful. A brass key in this sense becomes a bridge between firmness and flow. That's why it matters what the key is made of. Plastic won't hold the same weight. Steel is too sharp. Brass is balanced. Brass is wise. And wisdom is what you want to invite into your path. Not every door is locked, but not every door is noticed. In life, we don't just face closed doors. We often walk past open ones without seeing them. Opportunities arise, but we're distracted. Blessings whisper, but we don't hear. The brass key is not magic, but it is a reminder to pause, to look again, to be open. When you bury a brass key beneath your snake plant, you're sending a message. Let me recognize the doors that are ready to open. Let me have the courage to step through. This is not a wish. It's a quiet agreement with yourself and with the energy of your space. How to prepare the key? Choose a key that feels meaningful. It doesn't have to be antique, but it should feel intentional. Not the spare one from your filing cabinet, not something broken or forgotten. If you can, clean it gently. Hold it in your hand. Notice how it reflects light. You might whisper to it, not because it can hear, but because you need to speak. Let this key find the way. Let it guide the opening, not force it. You don't have to say it perfectly. You just have to mean it. Burying the key. Create a small space in the soil at the base of your snake plant, perhaps near where you placed your handwritten note or the coins. Lay the key there gently. Don't jam it in. Don't press it down. Let the earth receive it. Let the roots feel it. Because in Feng Shui, metal buried in soil activates movement. It begins to stir direction where things have been still. Cover it slowly. As you do, imagine the key unlocking something beneath the surface, not just in the soil, but in your own life. And then place your hands on the pot. Breathe in deeply, breathe out slowly. Say softly, "I trust the door will appear. I trust I'll know when to walk through." That's enough. The work is done, not finished but planted. A key is not a push, it is an opening. In Western thinking, keys are about control. Open, close, secure, deny. But in Feng Shui, a key is not control. It is invitation. It is the permission to move forward, to shift direction, to explore a new rhythm of life. You are not using the key to force abundance. You are using it to clear the path toward it. And perhaps most beautifully, the key reminds you that you are not locked out. You may feel delayed. You may feel like others have moved ahead. But there are doors meant for you, quiet ones, sacred ones, still waiting. This little brass key in the soil, it is the whisper. There is a way. Let's walk toward it. A final word of stillness. Don't tell anyone what you've buried. Let it remain between you and the earth. Feng Shui honors stillness. It teaches us that what is sacred must also be protected. Let this key rest where it lies. Let it glow in the dark, not as a secret, but as a promise. And when you notice a shift, clarity in your thoughts, a decision that feels easier, a door you hadn't seen before, know this: the key has done its work, and you have opened something inside yourself. Number 5, wrapping the base. A cloth as sacred as a prayer. At first glance, it might seem like a small gesture, just a piece of cloth wrapped loosely around the base of a plant. But in Feng Shui, even the smallest acts can carry deep intention. And when it comes to the snake plant, this gesture becomes more than aesthetic. It becomes a whisper of reverence, a quiet honoring of the energy you've just planted beneath the soil. A way of saying, "You matter. I trust you to carry this work forward." Why wrap the base? In many ancient cultures, cloth has always symbolized containment. It holds. It protects, it warms. We wrap gifts, we wrap babies, we wrap sacred objects. Wrapping is more than covering, it's dedication. When you wrap a soft strip of fabric around the base of your snake plant, you're not dressing it up. You're sealing the intention. You're inviting the plant to become a vessel of focused energy, not just scattered growth, but directed support. It says, "This is no longer just a plant. This is a living anchor for abundance, chosen and cared for." Choosing the right cloth. This is where care matters. Color, texture, and size are not random. They shape energy. Choose earthy yellow if you seek stability, groundedness, and lasting financial roots. Choose jade green if you wish for growth, vitality, and supportive people to enter your path. These two colors harmonize with the wood element of the snake plant. They nurture without overwhelming, but avoid using red or black. Red, though powerful, is fire, and fire clashes with wood. It creates urgency, agitation, burnout. Black represents deep yin, hidden, still, often heavy. It can draw energy inward and trap it instead of letting it circulate. Instead, you want energy to breathe, to flow, to stay gently awake. So pick a light, natural fabric. It doesn't need to be new, but it should feel clean, soft, intentional. Cut a strip wide enough to wrap once or twice around the base. Not the leaves, not the whole pot, just the root stem. Let the plant breathe. Just like wealth, it needs room to arrive and space to grow. The act of wrapping. This is a moment to slow down. You've placed your coins, you've written your note, you've planted your key. Now this cloth is the covering, not to hide, but to bless. Hold the cloth in your palms first. Feel its texture, its warmth. Then place it around the base of the plant. Tie it gently, not tight, not loose, just enough to feel like a hand resting in trust. And as you tie it, you may whisper, "I choose you as the guardian of this energy. May you hold it well. May it grow softly, quietly, and strong. Let your breath be slow. Let your heart be quiet. This is not a ceremony. It's a reminder of connection when the cloth is in place. Step back, look at your plant. It now wears something sacred, not because it's expensive or elaborate, but because it was given with care. You may choose to light a single stick of incense, or simply close your eyes and place your hands over your heart. Visualize the plant glowing, not just from sunlight, but from the intentions woven into its base. It doesn't need to shine, it only needs to hold. A symbolic robe. In many spiritual traditions, sacred objects are given robes, not to elevate them, but to recognize them. Your snake plant, once overlooked, now wears its purpose. It is no longer just a plant in the corner. It is a vessel of quiet energy, dressed like a monk, like a keeper of blessings. And every time you pass by it, the cloth will remind you, not of wealth alone, but of the care you've given, of the softness with which you chose to believe in quiet abundance. When not to wrap, if your energy feels chaotic, if you're rushing or unsure, wait. Don't wrap the plant in a moment of stress. Let the cloth remain in your drawer until your breath feels steady again, because the cloth is a symbol of peaceful sealing. It should come from a place of warmth, not pressure. Let it be your gentle closing note, the final exhale of this ritual, the sigh that says, "Now I let it begin." Number 6, sacred timing when earth and sky align. There's a moment in every ritual where the hands become still. The soil is placed, the cloth is tied, the breath softens, and yet something still feels unfinished, as if the space is ready, but the timing is not. In Feng Shui, action is only half the story. Timing completes the circle. Because even the most sacred gesture, if done in disharmony with the rhythms of heaven and earth, may pass like wind, felt but forgotten. But when you act in alignment, even the smallest whisper becomes a song the universe remembers. Why timing matters. Imagine standing by a river. You want to release something into the water. If the current is against you, your offering floats back. If the water is still, it lingers and sinks. But if you wait for the moment the current turns, the moment the river is ready, your offering glides forward, effortless, supported. This is what sacred timing means. Moving when the current is with you, not forcing, not waiting too long, just listening and acting. In Feng Shui, certain moments are considered energy gates, brief alignments between the human spirit, the home, and the broader rhythms of life. And when it comes to activating a snake plant as a vessel of wealth energy, these moments hold real weight. The 2 most auspicious days. The 1st and 10th days of the lunar month are known as open gates. These aren't just dates on a calendar. They carry symbolic momentum. The 1st day is the seed moment, a beginning. A soft starting note that invites fresh flow. The 10th day is known as the arrival of the god of wealth, a moment when spiritual and material energy connect in the earthly realm. On either of these days, your home's energetic field is more receptive. Your intentions are more easily heard. And what you place into the soil is more likely to take root. If you can time your planting, wrapping, or full ritual on these days, do so. If not, choose a day that feels right. Trust your body. Timing is not only cosmic, it is deeply personal. The 3 sacred hours. If you wish to go deeper, align not just with the day, but with the hour. There are 3 powerful windows in the 24-hour cycle, each one carrying its own quality of energy. The hour of the rabbit, 5-7a. Zem, for soft new beginnings, gentle clarity, hopeful flow, best for those seeking a fresh chapter or a clearing of past clutter. The hour of the horse, 11 a.m., 1 p.m. For action and abundance, bright, vibrant energy. Best for those ready to move forward boldly, new ventures, business energy, growth. The hour of the rat, 11 p.m., 1 a.m. For spiritual activation, deep intention, soul-level clarity. Best for quiet workers, night souls, or those whose energy awakens in stillness. You don't need to be exact down to the minute. Simply choose a time when you feel present, when your space is quiet, when you can hear yourself breathe. Because sacred timing is not just about clocks, it's about readiness, how to begin in that moment. When the hour arrives, stand near your snake plant. Place your hands together, not rigidly, just gently. Close your eyes. Let your feet feel the ground. Let your breath lengthen. And then speak, not loudly, but with clarity. Today is a day of alignment. Let the intentions I've planted take root in peace. May this plant receive, hold, and return energy that serves my path. I welcome the right flow at the right time in the right way. You may bow once or 3 times slowly. You may light incense or simply stand in stillness. No grand ritual is needed. Only sincerity, only presence, only timing, the deeper truth about timing. You don't need a perfect calendar to know when you're ready. Sometimes the most sacred moment is the one where you feel quiet enough to listen. To yourself, to your space, to what's ready to shift even if you don't know how. That is sacred timing too. So if you miss the 1st or 10th, don't worry. If you forget the hour, don't start over. Simply begin again with care. The sky is always moving. The earth is always listening. And your heart will always know the way if you pause long enough to hear it. Because the universe isn't waiting for perfection, it's waiting for alignment. And when that moment comes, small, quiet, unannounced, let the earth receive what you're finally ready to plant. Number 7, caring for the plant is caring for your path. It's done, the coins are buried, the note is written. The key rests quietly beneath the roots, the cloth is wrapped, and the timing felt just right. And now you wait. No, now you care. Because in Feng Shui, intention isn't a one-time act, it's a relationship. And relationships need tending. They ask for presence, attention, and most of all, gentleness. Your snake plant is no longer just a decorative piece. It's an energetic partner, a guardian of intention, a living reflection of how you relate to the unseen flow around you. The leaves are your mirror. Start with something simple, the leaves. They're not just green or sharp or architectural. They are signals. Are they bright, clean, upright? Or are they dusty, curling, wilting at the tips? Each leaf is a message, not from the plant to the world, but from your space to you. Dust on the leaves, it's not just aesthetic. In energy terms, it's stagnation. It says the flow is slowing. It whispers attention is drifting. And when you wipe them, slowly, mindfully, from base to tip, you're not just cleaning, you're inviting movement. Use a soft, clean cloth. Slightly damp, wipe upward, following the natural rise of the leaf. And as you do, think or softly say, let clarity rise, let blessings lift. Once a week is enough. Not out of obligation, but out of rhythm, like brushing your own hair or tidying your front step. Each time you clean the plant, you're resetting the energy in your home. Water like you would listen. Watering may seem routine, but in Feng Shui it's a metaphor. Too much water too often and the roots drown. Too little and they dry out in silence. Balance is the key. Snake plants thrive with restraint. They prefer dry spells followed by gentle soaking. They teach us, do not flood your blessings, let them breathe. Water only when the soil is dry, and when you do, pour slowly, don't rush. Let the soil take what it needs. For added harmony, try this gentle enhancement. Add a pinch of sea salt or a few drops of jasmine essence into the water. Salt clears energy, like washing emotional dust off the floor. Jasmine uplifts, softening tension, brightening the mood of the space. As you water, you may think, may what I give today be enough. May what I offer flow with grace. And then stop, Let the plant receive. Let the roots do what roots know how to do: hold, nourish, support. The energy of neglect. Sometimes the plant will struggle. Its leaves may yellow, its tips may brown, it may lean. And when that happens, many people panic. But this is not punishment, it's communication. It's the plant saying something is misaligned, the connection is slipping. Check again. Ask yourself, have I been present with my space? Have I been caring or just expecting? Am I honoring the flow or clinging to outcomes? Because just as the plant needs light and stillness, so does your path. Let its signs guide you, not into fear, but into gentle awareness. A wilting leaf is a call to soften. A brown tip is an invitation to pause. Even silence is a kind of reminder, the sacred rhythm of tending. You don't need to talk to the plant every day. You don't need to check the soil every morning. What it needs is your consistency. What it holds is your reflection. Caring for the plant isn't about keeping it alive. It's about keeping the relationship alive. It's about showing the universe, I nurture what I've asked for. I respect what I've received. In return, the plant will hold your message. It will pulse with your intention. It will become your reminder that prosperity is not only about gain, but about gratitude. When to leave it be. There will be days when you don't have the energy to wipe, water, or whisper. That's okay. Stillness is part of care. Rest is part of flow. On those days, simply acknowledge the plant with your eyes. That's enough. Let your gaze carry warmth. Let your silence be kind. Because sometimes care is simply not forgetting. And energy, like love, grows best when it is seen, even softly, even quietly. Final, poetic ending, a quiet turning. And now the plant stands. Not as it did before, not quite. It hasn't moved. Its leaves are still the same, but something beneath it has changed. Because somewhere under the soil, a coin rests with quiet confidence. A key waits with ancient patience. A piece of paper whispers with every breath. And above it all, a cloth wraps softly. Like a memory, like a promise. No one else may see it. No one needs to. Because the shift you've made isn't meant to be seen. It's meant to be felt. You've turned a corner of your home into a corner of intention, and that changes everything. The air holds a little more trust. The silence no longer feels empty. The space breathes with you. Not louder, but deeper. This wasn't about manifesting or calling in riches like thunder. It was about learning to move differently with your space. To care for energy the way you'd care for something sacred. A plant, a prayer, a future that's unfolding, not because you pushed it, but because you finally stopped to meet it. So if nothing happens right away, don't worry. The most beautiful blessings don't come like rainstorms. They arrive like roots, growing beneath the surface, holding you steady before you ever see them bloom. Let the plant remain where it is. Let it live quietly, guarding the message you gave it with your hands and your breath. And one morning, when you're not even thinking about it, you may notice something different, an opportunity you didn't expect, a softness in a place that used to feel hard, a decision made without fear. You won't trace it back to this moment, but it began here with a single act of presence, with a plant that now listens. And with a person, you, who chose to believe that quiet things still carry power. So tell me, what message have you planted beneath your life? That's just now beginning to grow,